All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NBA Finals preview. And you know what? Y'all knew us as the Fab Five, but we decided we'll keep that internal. So I'm going to allow the person who deemed us this name, the one and only Brandon A. Williams, to go ahead and let the people know what we will be known as from now on.
Oh, you just,
Well, sheesh.
See,
What?
I wasn't even ready for all that because first of all, I suggest
The Bible says, "Be ye also ready." So
Not ready.
because he not ready, I'm gonna bring on my Bible believing sister, the one and only Miss Ashley Baker, to go ahead and let the people know.
Be thou ready. What you say? We are called the Millennial Media Mavens. Myself, Ashley Nicole Baker, Miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson, Miss Renee P. Washington, Mr. Brandon A. Williams, and of course, Brian H. Waters. Yes.
Wow. So we put that together. Total shoot. We put that together earlier today. How y'all doing? Y'all know what the task is. We all know how we are doing. Let's talk NBA Finals as we get ready for the Los Angeles Lakers to tie the Boston Celtics with 17 championships. Renee, you seem to be excited, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick it off.
Where do I begin? Lakers Nation, stand up! Did we have any surprise by this? No. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers headed back to the NBA Finals. The Lakers headed back to the Finals for the first time since 2010. Brian, we all know what went down in 2010 with Kobe won an MVP, the Lakers knocking off the Celtics. We are back, and LeBron has a chance to win a championship with a third franchise, making history yet again, doing GOAT-like things like LeBron always does. So I am excited, and honestly, I thought it was going to be a Celtics-Lakers matchup, but the Celtics were unable to, in my opinion, step up to the challenge against the Heat. But I think hats off to Miami for getting to the finals. I think it's going to be a great series, but I definitely feel that this is going to be the Lakers series without a doubt. This is a 5 or 6 game series, and the Lakers are winning this. LeBron James has been here so many times before. I did not expect him to get to this point of the season and have a disappointing performance. I expect we're only going to see what we saw in Game 5 as they close out versus Nuggets yet again because he knows how to win the championship. So Lakers, let's go.
Woo! Lakers, let's go. Kelsey.
Sure, I can add to that. I didn't get to deck out in the jersey like Brian did, but like the only team I would want more in the finals than the Los Angeles Lakers would be the Washington Wizards. But look, they've got a lot of work to do. So I will talk about the task at hand. Los Angeles Lakers, how perfect is it? And a tough year after we lost Kobe. And it's only right that the Los Angeles Lakers are now headed back to the finals. And I think I'm so excited about this matchup. The Miami Heat have just proved to be that team that were underdogs. And I'm always rooting for an underdog to win. Nobody thought that the Heat would be the team to come out of the East. Everyone thought, hey, if any team's going to come out of the East, it is going to be the Celtics. I talked to Jason Terry on the show. He thought it would be an old school Lakers-Celtics rivalry, but it's not that. And LeBron James has this new look team. Of course, all these new teammates. Anthony Davis has just been such a magnificent piece. The team is young. They're hungry. And it's exciting to watch everything looking at this Lakers team. Everyone asks about their depth. Well, we've seen their depth show up at times. And again, when you have a leader like LeBron who can do anything, it's an exciting time. So I think the Lakers, I'm going to say Lakers in 6. I think the Heat will make it very interesting and exciting. You cannot take away anything that Jimmy Butler has done. Bam Adebayo. I mean, literally, this is the perfect matchup. LeBron's going to be guarded, I think, very well. And I think that's why the rest of his team is going to have to step up. Everyone can step up, especially AD. And the way he showed up, I think, in this playoff series, it just needs to be consistent. I think we're in for a good one, so I'm excited for it. So go Lakers, Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6, Kelsey's prediction. Ashley, you look primed and ready, done by design. She is sitting there waiting on the Heat side. She's been running her mouth. Go ahead, sis.
I broke out a little something myself, Brian. Oh, man. Shout out to Michael Lau for grabbing this bad boy for me when we did NABJ convention in Miami last year. Shout out to Michael Lau for grabbing this bad boy for me. I am going Miami in 7. Listen, I will never, ever discredit what LeBron James is and what he brings to any franchise, what he brings to any organization. That is a tough feat. That is an incredible thing that he's done. He's literally with, as Renee said, a third franchise, and he is going to the NBA Finals. I mean, literally, he is definitely GOAT conversation, for sure. Anthony Davis is great for the Lakers, man. Their pieces definitely, y'all know me. Y'all know I'm kind of a LeBron hater, just a little bit, just a bit of a LeBron hater. Just the same, but one thing I will not do is discredit what this man is and what he means to the league. I mean, he's beast mode. But I'm going Celtics in 7. Miami in 7. I wanted the Celtics to get there, but I called Miami as my sleeper pick a couple months ago. I just didn't think that Miami and Boston were going to be facing each other, but I knew that Miami would be a tough out. I like what Bam is doing. They some dogs in the middle, as I have said before. I expect them to make it hard on the Lakers, and I'm giving the Lakers credit here. I'm saying it's going to go 7. It's going to go 7 in Miami's favor, though.
Going to go 7, Brandon. Do you believe it?
First and foremost, I'm going to need Ashley to stop capping right now because this is ridiculous. But anywho, yes, LeBron James is, as has always been, superb in every single finals that he's appeared in. There have been times where, he hasn't necessarily been the most productive that we needed him to be. But, as you spend so much time in the NBA, you start to get a little bit of wear and tear on your body and stuff like that. But even still, LeBron, in the way that he's handled this whole situation, has been nothing but superb. I'm definitely surprised by how the Heat have done in this bubble, and the way Jimmy Butler has been performing. First and foremost, I knew Jimmy Butler has always been a dog, but it just seems like he's never had that right fit. We thought he had a right fit when he was in Philly, but that didn't turn out the way that we were anticipating. But now that he's with the Heat, and he has Bam, and he has Dragic, and he has so many other people that are used to competing for championships in a town like Miami. I mean, you kind of are putting like a true matchup here together, where you have a guy that's the old dog, and then you have a guy that's not necessarily the youngest dog, but he's still running the pack a little bit in Jimmy Butler. LeBron and AD together in the finals for the first time together is going to be sensational. They're going to be unstoppable. Barring any injuries,
don't even say
the
those
Lakers in 6.
Barring any injuries, he got the Lakers at 6. Look, y'all.
Say this really quick. I don't know if y'all watch the NFL game day crew or morning crew, whatever, but obviously we see where Brian is gonna go with this daggone Lakers jersey on. Should I put the hat on and do the lone wolf?
You brought up the Heat.
Listen, Charles. Let Brian give his take, okay? Go ahead, Brian.
So here's the thing, folks. I'm going to just keep it straight simple. Lakers in 5. I wanted to say, I said Lakers in 6 on my boy Mark Gunnell's Facebook post. Shout out to him. But the more and more I think about it, it's just something special. You never, every game has been, LeBron has closed it out in 5 games. I think about teams that have beat LeBron in the finals. They've all had that surefire Hall of Famer. The first Tim Duncan and them, right? He was with the Cavs, where he dragged them to the finals. They beat him. Then there was Dirk Nowitzki. Shall I say anymore? Then Kawhi and the Spurs, of course. And then let's be real, for the exception of 1 year. Well, the first 2 years they were equal, but after a while, the Steph Curry and the Warriors, and then Kevin Durant, all these people are surefire Hall of Famers. We can talk all this cool stuff about Jimmy Butler right now. We can talk all this stuff. We not going, and no disrespect to Bam, he's up and coming. He's a young cub right now, but there's no, at this present time, any surefire Hall of Famers, and therefore Jimmy Butler is set up for the biggest test. And yeah, Pat Riley, he was there, but he ain't coaching. He ain't coaching no more. Eric Spoelstra, cool, but he ain't got Dwayne Wade. He's never won a championship without Wade, and I don't expect it to happen this year. Pat Riley has never won a championship in Miami without Wade. I don't expect it to happen now. That is Wade country. Wade will only be the one to bring championships there for now. Lakers in 5.
Excuse me.
I'm listening.
Andre Iguodala is a sure Hall of Famer.
No. He's not a surefire. He's a conversation.
Beating the Lakers.
No.
He's a sure Hall of Famer. That's not going to change the series.
That's
3 years ago, maybe.
Surefire Hall of Famer conversation. You telling me you don't think Iggy's going into the Hall of Fame? I'm not saying first ballot.
That's what I'm talking about. All those other people actually I named are first ballot.
Come on, man. He's going into the Hall of Fame.
That's what I mean when I say surefire. That's what. Maybe I should have changed my words and said first ballot.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Iggy because he's on number 6 straight final appearance as well. So we going to get $1.
So who's going to stop AD and LeBron? Like, you got to look at this.
This is what I've been saying. They're the best 2 players on the floor. So how do you the Heat do not match up with them? Maybe in one game. We're talking a best of 7.
And it's Renee, let's be real. These playoffs right now, the way things are looking, number 1 and 2 in the league right now this year. Number 1 and 2.
To be honest, like the Heat are gonna have to bring everything. So obviously you're gonna want to double LeBron. You're gonna want to double AD because if they get their way, you're gonna have a problem. I think the best thing and also let's remember, Anthony Davis wants a championship ring. Why did he go to LA? He was hungry. He wants that championship. LeBron made a promise to him that he would get him that championship. I think you can't take away from that. So I think once you look at this Lakers team, if everyone shows up, it's hard to take anything away from them. But also, I'm talking about the Lakers. Can we talk about how Quinn Cook has been like the biggest finesser of them all? Like always on championship teams and about to get another championship ring. Shout out to PG County on that one.
There are a lot of players. JaVale McGee's another one. There are a lot of players in the league that, I honestly am a little jealous of because they always manage to be front row, courtside, free tickets, getting paid to watch a championship and getting a ring. JaVale McGee is definitely one of those players, too, that you always see right on the bench. And that's why I don't blame him for being such a cheerleader on the floor. I'd be the biggest cheerleader. I'd be the biggest cheerleader. Pay me how much to on the bench at 6 courtside. But to the point about matchups, I think that's the biggest thing. I have been saying, I think in this series specifically, look, the Heat are absolutely an underdog. The Heat have had an incredible run. I've also been saying that they are a team that when we were starting out in the NBA restart, not to sleep on because they had all the pieces. You saw how they finished out the regular season prior to the shutdown around COVID. So I felt like they were moving in the right direction in terms of momentum. Bam Adebayo stepping into his own as an all-star player. Jimmy Butler with something out to prove. You have a great shooter in Tyler Hero, who right now, after dropping 37 in Game 5, right now is a great player for them to add that offensive threat. Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Jay Crowder. They have a lot of pieces there, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, nobody matches up with AD and LeBron for an entire game in a best of 7 series. If we're just looking at a regular season game, that's one thing. This is the NBA championship. You cannot tell me that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are not going to be ready to kick it up a notch. So my thing is, for this series, to be honest, if the Heat win, it's going to be, in my opinion, more what the Lakers don't do. I think the Lakers are in the driver's seat. If they come out and play the way they're supposed to, they absolutely should win this series. But if they come out and you have the role players, Kuzma, Danny Green, Rondo, JaVale McGee, if Dwight Howard's getting dumb technicals, then this could change. That could change some things, but at the end of the day, it's going to fall in LeBron and AD's hands. If they do their job, the Lakers win this in 5 or 6.
One thing I learned about championship teams, it's either a lot of turmoil or it's a really close together unit. I see a real close together unit with this Los Angeles Lakers team. When you saw, all right, let's take LeBron James' last conference finals win, right? You looked and saw it and noticed that it was kind of exhausted. Like they was just happy to beat Boston. Like we know we ain't gonna win the finals. We got here without Kyrie. We just gonna be happy. And then, we all know the J.R. Smith situation. You look at the look and determination in his eyes, that looked like I'm going to beat whoever I got to beat, and I'm going to beat him bad. That's why I cannot go against this team. And because of the man right there, Kobe Bryant, bottom line, they're going to do this for him. And I know, shout out to my boy Daniel Artest, who said, that's too much pressure. Well, guess what? They got here. You look at everything, and there were tough games. This team is battle tested. They, in all fairness, they could have lost game 2 of the Western Conference Finals if Anthony Davis doesn't hit that shot. But, we talk about X factors, and I know Ashley wanted to talk about X factors for the Heat. I'm going to just name 2 on the Lakers, and I think, and maybe you call them X factors or maybe you're not, but I think things are going to open up for Rondo to be playoff Rondo, but we're going to get finals Rondo. And I think Dwight Howard is so locked in and focused because in a sense, he felt like I was supposed to do this and be the man years ago. I'm getting another opportunity to win a championship with the Lakers. Now, he had an opportunity to be somebody who would have a statue. He's not going to have a statue now, but this is a great opportunity, and I think he's going to make the most of it.
Yeah. And because I live in Virginia, where was this JaVale McGee in Washington? Where was this Dwight Howard in Washington? But I'll digress from
They
that.
didn't have LeBron James.
LeBron
They
James.
didn't have LeBron James. All these players are playing the way they're playing because of LeBron. Let's not get it twisted. It's not Vogel. It's LeBron.
First of all, Dwight Howard was hurt in DC, so that has nothing to do with it not being a LeBron situation.
Yes, it does.
Let me be very clear. JaVale McGee was definitely, and believe me, I stayed up and watched the games to know JaVale McGee mattered in Golden State at a certain, not in the KD days. Of course, he wasn't even there in the KD days, but that 15 and 16 year, JaVale McGee was actually a factor. Everybody
he went from being captain to JaVale McGee.
That's what was so beautiful about that Warriors team is that there wasn't anybody that could say they didn't contribute in some way. It was just complete team basketball. But I will say this to your point earlier, Brandon, and you guys saying, look, absolutely, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are the devastating combination that we know them to be. I think that because it's so much pressure on LA, we are expecting them to win the championship. I think that that's going to create a lot of looseness. And I think that Miami is, first of all, physicality wise, they're not the Nuggets. I said this on my Let Me Just Say This. They're not the Nuggets. They're not the Blazers. And they're not the Rockets. Physicality wise, they can hang with the Lakers. Let's be clear on that. So when you add the coaching of Eric Spoelstra, he knows LeBron. You got to throw AD in there. He don't know AD, so he may know LeBron, but he don't know how AD work. But when you throw in the coaching of Eric Spoelstra, and I think that he'll get the rotations and the matchups as equate as possible, the heart and soul of the Miami Heat. And this is not to discredit or discount anything that the Lakers. Listen, y'all. Look, I'm rolling with the Heat, so I'm going. Kind of just over there. I want to, because we know I just want my X factor for the Heat is Tyler Hero. If Tyler Hero can drop somewhere close to 20 points in at least 4 of these games, they have beyond a shot because Jimmy's not going to go missing. I don't feel like Jimmy Butler is going to go missing. I don't feel like Bam is going to go missing. I feel like that we're sleeping on Bam. Bam is going to show us that he's very grown man, despite what y'all may think. I don't know. Like Dragic, he's a baller. You know, Jay Crowder with the defense. They're gonna have a couple of people that's on LeBron James defensively. Kyle Kuzma's gonna have to get going. Rajon ain't no joke, so I know what he's gonna bring. I don't know, man. I feel like y'all kind of sleeping on Miami a little bit. Not a lot of bit, but I just feel like y'all saying 5 and 6, Brandon and 5.
Brandon said in 6.
I said 5. I said 5. I think
5 or 6.
They're gonna be tough matchups.
But here's my thing is that the Lakers have one big piece that you're missing. Aside from just LeBron James and AD and besides talent, you have champions on that team. It's something different about being on a championship team. And I know, Brian, you talked about that a little bit earlier. Having that championship foundation, Rondo, Danny Green, JaVale McGee, your role players are also champions. It's not even just about LeBron and AD. And in my opinion, down the stretch, the reason why the Heat were able to close out that series over the Celtics, because the Celtics youth showed. They went cold late in game 6, especially. The last 4 or 6 minutes of that game, the Celtics were nowhere to be found. They already had their heads between their tails. The Lakers are not going to do that. You have champions, you have veterans, you have leaders, you have guys that have been in this situation before. And when you have a player like LeBron, who's been in now 10 championships, Rondo, this is not his first time going around, that in itself is going to add a little bit more because it's a whole different stage. And I think that might be something in itself that gives the Lakers the upper hand. And then you add in the fact they have the 2 best players on the floor. It's going to be a tall task for the Heat. They're definitely underdogs in embracing that. But in my opinion, I don't think the matchup is there. And not only just physically, but mentally, to be honest, and what the Lakers can bring every single night and what we saw the Heat They did great. Don't get me wrong, but the Celtics are a different team. The Bucks are definitely a different team. I mean, and the Pacers are a different team than what they're seeing in the Lakers. So,
well, I mean,
I'm confident in 5. Maybe.
I feel like that championship degree or whatever you're calling in regards to having that experience, stuff like that. Iguodala has experience. He may not play a whole lot, but you still have to worry about him getting in their ears on the sideline, and Udonis has him. You have Eric Spoelstra, who is a championship coach. You have Pat Riley, who we're not even going to get into what he give. So it's not just about the guys that's going to be with them on the bench. That stuff trickles down from the top as well. So when you have nobody in a leadership position that's in these young guys' ears are without titles either in Miami. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like the Lakers just got more people that, but that, Miami has that as an option as well, as far as having, folks. What happened to Brandon? What happened?
I don't know, but he'll be here. But
Brandon, I really want to. I think Miami, when we talk about role players, they've all shown up, and that's why Miami has gotten to the point they've gotten to. I think Ashley brings up a great point. If Tyler Hero can be the bucket that he claims to be, that's a game changer. That's a difference maker because Jimmy doesn't have to do it alone. And I want to get back to Bam. So defensively, and I think that's what this game is going to come down to, this eventual series. Yeah, I want to look at the minutes that Bam is going to play on the floor because Eric Spoelstra is going to have to put him on AD. He's going to have to put him on LeBron. Bam is a big guy, right? So you kind of want to restrict his minutes a bit because you need him to rest up, but also how much can you if you really want to make this a series? Because that's why I think Bam is going to be one of the most important factors. And also if you look at the Miami Heat through the series, when Bam is on the floor, they're outscoring people. He makes a difference on both ends of the floor. So that's why I said the Lakers in 6, because I don't think it's going to be as easy as a task for, because if the Lakers all need to show up. We've seen LeBron is LeBron, but luckily if everyone can show up on his team, he can have an off night. He doesn't have to have 30 points or whatever. He can have an off night. But on the other end of the ball, if you look at Miami, I think what's made them so special this year is that everyone has shown up to the task and played their role. This is why Miami is such a fun team to watch. This is why we're not counting them out. This is why many people aren't saying this sweep, even though they're going against the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm excited for this series, but still Lakers is changing that.
But that's a great segue because I really want to talk about, can Bam slow AD down? Mm-hmm. I didn't say, he can't shut him down. Nobody can shut down Anthony Davis or LeBron James. You can contain them. Do you guys think that Bam can keep that energy? Again, I'm saying in 7. Do you think that he can keep that energy going in 6-7 games with these boys? Do y'all think that he can, slow them down?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And AD is playing on another level and knowing this is his first opportunity. And let's be real. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Lakers fan, diehard Lakers fan. The first 2 championships runs that I remember, I felt that those were dynasties. I don't necessarily see this one as one that's going to string along a repeat or 3-peat.
Agreed.
I would love it, obviously. But so I think this is you brought up Ashley, championship or bust. Ain't no Paul Georges on this team. Yeah, we do have a Paul George. His name is Dwight Howard, So I see the Lakers as championship or bust. Therefore, I don't think that Anthony Davis is going to let Bam slow him down. Now, Bam going, might get him roughed up, but this is the thing. They got twin towers. AD normally a center somewhere, but he can play that 4 role because Dwight Howard can still get buckets. And that's the thing. He's 34 years old, but he's not somebody who can't find the rim. He's not somebody who can't finish. So that could open up for Dwight Howard to have one of these be a 25-10 night.
Well, my thing is exactly that. I don't think the biggest thing that the Lakers have brought to the floor that teams have struggled to adjust with, and what the Clippers were building towards but never got to the finals, Western Conference Finals to play, is they don't have the size matchup. As you mentioned, if Bam and let's say Jay Crowder are matched up with AD and whoever else, I guess they're putting Andre Iguodala on LeBron. He's not playing the whole game on LeBron, and maybe rotate Jay Crowder on him for a little bit. Who are you matching them up with? And then you don't match up with the other bigs. You don't match up with JaVale and Dwight. You don't match up, maybe, I guess, Caruso, Rondo, Kuzma. Who matches up with Kuzma? I just think it's a mismatch, much like we saw in the Nuggets series. I do think it's a mismatch for the Heat. I think they have all the heart in the world and the intensity, and that's why I say they're going to win at least a game, if not two. But I don't think they match up defensively with the Heat at all, because to me, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Gordon Dragic, one of the toughest things about shooters is they tend to be defensive liabilities. And I don't think they match up well on defense with any of the Lakers, to be honest, consistently for a 7-game series. If we're just talking, again, I keep reiterating, if we're just talking one game, totally different. But I think it's going to be a mismatch on the defensive end, and the Heat cannot afford to make this a shootout, because although you have shooters, you don't have the best players on the floor. And I, for that reason, think that Bam's going to be able to slow AD down at times. But I think down the stretch, the Lakers the Lakers are going to be able to rely on LeBron and on AD heavily to be able to get them over that hump.
I think going off the size factor too, it'll be interesting to see how fast Eric Spoelstra runs this game, because like you said, can they beat them with their youth and their size? You want to score quickly, right? Because you want to get those big guys off balance and get to the basket, or you're going to play their game and try to do clock management. I think that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting to see, because the Lakers have that size advantage. But again, I'm not counting Bam out. He's going to be such an important piece. But I think Renee made great points. That matchup isn't there, so that's why it's hard to think defensively that the Heat can do what the Lakers will be able to do, barring no injury, as Brandon said. If everything is as it is, it's just unfair, unfortunately, for the Lakers.
That's something actually AD's foot that he keeps falling on and messing up is pissing me off. But that's something that has been the biggest concern, because unfortunately we're seeing across all sports with them coming back so quickly, not having a full preseason and all, whether it's football without having OTAs in the preseason, or basketball being rushed back, playing every other day. You're seeing the wear on AD specifically. So I never want to see a player get hurt, because it just takes away from what their team can bring. You want them to be at 100%. But that is something that absolutely could be a game changer. But I like Mark Gunnell, shout out to him in the comments. Somehow that we are going to play zone to hide those guys. I mean, you can't play a zone against the Lakers. Good luck.
Yeah, definitely playing zone against the Lakers. Good luck. Go ahead, Brandon.
I think that, the Lakers not having any shooters that rely on just the three ball kind of works in their favor a lot more than what people are giving them credit for. Because as high as LeBron's basketball IQ is, he understands that, certain players, when they get hot from three, that's all that they're going to try to do, which he can deal with and adjust to. So the Lakers, they have an advantage because they not only have guys that can shoot from three, they got guys with mid-range games and can play down below with their backs towards the basket. The Heat, the only person that I really know that can probably do that is Bam. And Bam, I think, is going to definitely have to match up with LeBron more in this case instead of AD, because AD is going to have what he has. But I think that if the Heat want to try to minimize LeBron's impact in this series, they're going to have Bam on him all game long. Not saying that he's going to just stay on him the whole game, because, Iguodala's going to want a piece of him too. The first ballot Hall of Famer, Andre Iguodala, that is going to want a piece of LeBron too, because he owes him one for beating him in his last season in Cleveland. So,
well, also it's a good point you bring up about Bam, because Bam was matched up with Daniel Tice for the Celtics, and that's not Anthony Davis, that's not LeBron. So I think he's a great defender, but I think it's something to be said about having to every single possession match up with the other team's best player. That's tough. That's very hard. But I do also think we're forgetting that rivalry and that feud between Pat Riley and LeBron. That storyline there is another reason in itself that I think LeBron not only is out to beat the Heat, but out to prove something to Pat Riley. Look, I can win a championship without you. Here I am. Watch me win it. So don't sleep on that either.
That's a great storyline.
Yeah, it's definitely great. Let's talk some current news today. Doc Rivers, we brought up the Clippers, the second team in Los Angeles. No, I'm not from LA, but definitely got a lot of love. Shout out as I'm rooting for the Los Angeles Dodgers to win the World Series. But Doc Rivers out as coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. And, I'm going to show this full screen. This is why, folks. If you look right there on your screen, the Clippers, they didn't make the Battle of LA. They were supposed to be in the Denver Nuggets position, up 3-1. Second time the Clippers dropped a 3-1 lead in the semi-conference finals. Renee, you're in Philly. I'm hearing Doc Rivers, Sixers. What do you think about that?
I want to hear Ashley first. Okay.
Oh, the Sixers, please bring Doc Rivers in. First of all, I don't think it made sense for them to mutually part ways after 1 year with having Kawhi and Paul George. But what I feel is that there's more behind the scenes we don't know. Because let's just take a step back. Every coach that's been fired, or Mike D'Antoni quit before they could fire him, let's call it for what it is. Every coach that's been fired, they've been fired within like 24 hours of getting back from the bubble. So because it took so long for them to mutually part ways, I feel like there was something that was going on in the front office. Maybe they were trying to move someone, or Kawhi. Let's not sleep on quiet little Kawhi's little temperaments, because this is team number 3. We know that he had issues with popping in San Antonio. We know that he wanted Pascal Siakam out in Toronto. Here y'all's on a 3rd team, and now all of a sudden the coach is out. And Doc Rivers, who, in my opinion, I don't think the Clippers lost and losing in that series was because of Doc. I think it was the team just had a lot of issues, and I felt like I kept seeing Doc almost trying to rein them in and get them to play more as a team, more discipline, whatever it may be. So I was surprised that they mutually parted ways as fast, but I think there's more to it. So the Sixers absolutely need to pick up on this, because Doc is head and shoulders above what Brett Brown was doing in Philly. You need a coach that's going to coach, someone that's going to hold these guys accountable. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, all the All-Stars they have, they should be able to play on the floor together and to be a top team in the East. For them to be knocked out in round 1, they need a coach that's going to come in and be able to lead. So I think if Doc Rivers goes to Philly, that'd be a great addition for the Sixers and a huge pickup, without a doubt.
She got the church hand up, folks.
Good sister Renee.
Not the church hand. Are you kidding me?
Good sister
You
Renee.
always like to disagree with what I'm saying. Because how can you disagree with what I'm saying?
The answer.
Well, somebody.
Are you implying that the answer to the Sixers' problems is bringing Doc to Philly and not having Joel step his game up?
No, that is the problem. But you need a coach that's going to tell you, stop eating Chick-fil-A sandwiches before the game. Stop whining and complaining every time somebody hits you. Man up, toughen up, and do what you're supposed to do as an all-star. They need a coach that's going to hold him accountable. And Doc Rivers, watching what he did with the Clippers, I think he's the guy that can hold them accountable. I think Doc needs to go to Philly. That is exactly what I'm saying. They need a better coach, a leader. Ashley, why you always got to disagree with me? You always looking for a reason to disagree.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Listen, let me just say this. Listen.
Go ahead and say your line. Let
me just say this.
Y'all know that I feel robbed that the Clippers did not make it to the Western Conference Final. I feel robbed. And a lot of that, Doc Rivers pulled the robbery. Listen, I have been debating my good friend Brian H. Waters for the last 5 years of how phenomenal and how great of a coach Doc Rivers is. And the man has been saying that the man is overrated. No. He's not overrated. He's not all of that. Listen, he couldn't get the job done when he had CP3, DeAndre Jordan, and who else did he have?
Blake Griffin.
Okay. He didn't get the job done then. Let me say, listen.
They got one Celtics ring because they all wanted to win.
Exactly. And this meltdown with the Clippers
They had KG.
completely pissed me off, because first of all, once you lost the series, you go to the media and say, we didn't gel well. There was no cohesiveness. Listen, it was cohesiveness when y'all was up 3-1. It was cohesiveness when y'all were up 17 in each of these games that you blew. You weren't talking about the cohesiveness then, but when you drop the ball and lose the series, there's an issue with cohesiveness. Yes, I'm with you, Renee. I expected the man to be gone the day after they exited the bubble. I didn't even expect him to get back on the team playing, okay? Because that is a coach thing for me. That is a coaching thing. They were up double digits in the last 3 games, and you could not rally your troops to keep your head on a swivel and don't go out there and blow the lead 3 times. It wasn't an issue for me. That's not a player thing, because they had the lead. That's just poor coaching, in my opinion. That's the second time he's done it with the same franchise. I do believe that there is something behind it a little bit more than what we know on the surface. So I agree with you with that, Renee, because they took way too long to fire him. But if you expected him to have some type of different result in Philly, they're going to blow 3-1 leads out there too.
I'm going to just say this real quick. You brought up something.
We cannot totally absolve
Brandon be so upset.
Hold on. I shout out to shout out to Rashad Milligan said someone passed the offering plate. That was for Reverend Dr.
Don't
Ashley
be using her
Baker.
Stop all that. Stop all that.
But this is what I'm gonna say. Part of me feels like when Ashley and Renee, y'all talked about expecting Doc Rivers to be gone sooner. Part of me kind of feels like they wanted us to kind of forget that heartfelt speech he had about Black Lives Matter. It was like, you know what? We don't want to fire the black man right now. Let's give it a couple weeks. Now they might have forgot, and that's just my opinion. So if I can't share with anybody else, I gotta share with my brother and my sisters.
I'm glad you brought up that point, Brian. I think it's a conversation we need to have on this show. But I do want to add, yes, anytime you blow a 3-1 series lead, and look, we're finally relevant this year. We thought they could do something in the West. We were finally like, oh, they're not going to be the stepchild anymore. They had the chance. They had a chance to end the drought, and they had it in their hand, and they fumbled the bag. Anytime you fumble the bag, someone's going to get blamed for fumbling the bag, and usually it's going to fall back on the head coach, even though we all know that Paul George, it
should have been Kawhi.
I don't want to bash Paul George because he did come out and talk about his difficulty in the bubble. But Kawhi, and look, many of us love Kawhi, but he had his problems too. And look, Doc is a hard one. But I do, since Brian touched on it, I do think we need to talk about black coaches in the NBA. As we all know, it's not even just in the NBA, it's a problem as a whole. I think we all know many times black coaches are judged very differently than their counterparts. This conversation really started when Steve Nash got hired in Brooklyn. And we started talking about white privilege. And then many people are saying, well, where is Doc going to end up? We all know, Doc is accomplished. Look at his career wins. He's accomplished. We know it didn't work, obviously, with the Clippers, but let's be honest. They have some work to do if they really do want to be contenders in the West. But your point is interesting, Brian. I'm glad you brought up that heartfelt speech, because I do also think we have to think about the current climate in the country and that the NBA is trying to get it right? Right now, racial tensions are probably at an all-time high, right? There's a lot going on in the country. We all know we're still reeling over the verdict in the Breonna Taylor case. So all of that's going on. Doc was really, his speech resonated with so many. And of course, in the NBA bubble, we see what they're trying to do to talk about why Black Lives Matter, why this movement kind of still needs to go on. And we see all the hate that LeBron is getting from those on the other side that for some reason just don't get it. I think Doc is the embodiment. He's one of the most well-respected coaches. Let's also not forget that. One of the most well-respected coaches in the game. Again, a proven person. And again, what he did, he fumbled the bag. So I'm not saying he should have been gone, but I thought it was interesting, the timing of the firing. I don't know how many people thought it would come down today. Ashley made a great point. It didn't come right after, right, when it could have happened. It came down today. Many people were like, well, what? Like, why did this happen all of a sudden? But if anything, I hope he does land in a good place. He's still a great coach. I know a place I'd like to see him land. I'm not going to say that, though, yet right here. But it's very interesting to say. But like I said, I think Doc, again, great guy, but it was not solely his fault. Lou Williams wanted to go and get them freaking wings.
Hey, Papa Lou!
Listen,
my man Brian ain't lying. Said it. Lou was never interested.
Brian ain't lying. Is spot on. Here's my issue with the
That's
decision.
a cool name, by the way.
It is, right? And it rhymes. Brian ain't lying. Here's my issue, though, because Brian ain't lying, you ain't lying, and we are kind of on the same page a little bit. Lou Williams dealing with foolishness, going to get wings. How about the plays where we saw Doc literally telling his players, like Montrezl Harrell, you have to run the floor. You got to get up and down the floor. It's the playoffs. If you have to tell your players to get back on defense, to run the floor, that's a problem. We saw playoff P. Playoff P is not good. Paul George did not show up consistently. You're supposed to be the number 2 on this team.
Way off P.
And then we had Kawhi Leonard. I don't care how quiet you are. That little meek personality thing of not being outspoken, that's got to go. You're a veteran. You're a champion. And he needed to step up. Did you see Kawhi Leonard ever talking to his team? Guys, let's go. Like we saw Udonis Haslem doing in the Heat huddle. Like we've seen LeBron do it. We didn't see Kawhi Leonard step up and say anything. He's all about himself in that sense, where you're the leader of this team. Your team's not playing well. You need to step up and get them up 3-1. There's no reason they should have blew that series. But I think it's bigger than Doc. And that's my issue with the decision. I think that Doc is also to blame, but I think it's he's too easy to blame. Kawhi should have stepped up. Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverley, stop fouling out. Stay in the game. Stop getting hurt. You're fine. Go on and play. Too many issues. They were like babies, in my opinion. And I thought the Clippers, that's what we got into this discussion before. I felt like the Clippers felt entitled and the players felt like they had already won a championship and that they were just going to cruise their way to the Western Conference Finals and play the Lakers. They weren't ready to
literally.
I think that's why you should not remove Doc Rivers, because it's not him. Those guys got to bring Paul George, Kawhi Leonard to start, and definitely Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly. They got to show up. And he was urging them to play, and they wouldn't. So it's not all on him, in my opinion. But go on to the Sixers.
Funniest comment of the night.
Yeah, I.
Remix.
Yeah, no, man, them Clippers, like y'all had commercials, y'all literally like a smear campaign towards the Lakers. Y'all the new kings of LA. You know, I hated Paul George's, remarks at the podium after the game that they lost. Oh, we didn't think that this was gonna be. We didn't think that this was championship or bust for us. No, y'all painted the picture that it was championship or bust. That was y'all. We didn't say that y'all needed to win the championship until you start making commercials with the TV, all in the videos, all in the shows. Like, what's going on? Like, I was sick.
But that's what happens when you come into LA, though, Ash. That's what happens.
And look where they ended up.
Not the playoff picture, though.
Clippers got clipped.
The Clippers got clipped.
I'll give him a game and go on and win the game.
Ooh. Well, at least now Luke can get all the wings he wants. He doesn't have to worry about being
Go get the wings now.
Yeah.
Lemon pepper Lou, man. Lemon pepper Lou. So really quick, are we going,
address the elephant in the room?
Well, what's the elephant in the room?
Wait, what's the elephant? Because y'all got it.
You go ahead. I thought y'all wanted to talk some football real quick before we got out of here. She a real one. She a real one. She got the bow wear.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Kels.
Bye.
Chiefs, Ravens.
Kelsey's getting out of here, but we're gonna stick around, folks. But yeah, so as they get ready to get set, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, my Baltimore Ravens. And I got the Ravens 38-24. I know my man Mark Gunnels, if he's still on here, he probably throwing something at me right now, but I do believe that my team, as they get set for kickoff, is ready. I don't like the fact that it looked like we're gonna get the ball first, though. Yeah, but look, I guess it's from playing Madden. But it seemed like there was a shift where people would get the ball versus, choose to receive. But Ashley, I know you are you always like to hate against me. People wouldn't realize that we're actually like super close.
That's
everything. Yeah.
Yo, literally every single team that you like or player that you like, she goes against.
Ever since I left the Cowboys, it's been this way.
I want everybody to hear me loud and hear me clear. I really hope that our broadcast reaches the world. I am old school. In football, if you are not the Dallas Cowboys or Tom Brady, I don't like you. Period. I don't care.
You can only like one team.
I don't like you.
Right.
Tom Brady leave. I'm really not. Look. If you ain't Dallas, I don't rock with you. Don't take it personal. It's just business. But I do have y'all winning tonight. I definitely.
See, this scares me though, because I've not won yet.
Guaranteed. Put a guarantee on
that. Picking the Ravens.
Guaranteed. Come on, Chuck. Add that guaranteed in there, Chuck.
I guarantee that the Ravens are.
Please don't do that.
They just lost.
Please don't.
Chiefs. I got the score. I'm saying I'm rolling 35-28.
Okay. Renee, what you got?
Guys, I'm just gonna call it for what it is. I'm watching this game a little salty because my team's 0-2-1 and we look like straight doo-doo.
Real quick. Is it better do you rather have a tie or a loss? Because sometimes a tie feels insulting, depending on the status.
You go for a field goal. I mean, I was surprised. I put about the tie. I'd rather have the. I've got no words. I got no words. I don't know what's going on.
Who you're
I
playing?
say, why Eagles? Why? Just get a victory. In this game, I don't have a horse in this fight. I just want to see good football because I'm still scarred from seeing some awful football yesterday in our tie against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Renee, would you say that or Brandon, both of y'all actually too, would y'all say that? I think it depends. The tie thing depends on who it is. So if my team is like crap and I tie against a Kansas City Chief, I'm taking a moral victory out of that. But y'all played the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm aware.
There goes the man, Lamar Jackson. It is Monday night.
Victories
he just changed the game from one side of the field to the next side. Man, look, let me tell you.
Well, Brandon, hold on.
7-21.
Brandon, what's up with your Washington football team?
I thought he got rid of him.
Huh? Who? Thank you, Brian. Like I did not make that proclamation last season.
Before last year.
Like I did make that proclamation last season. Now, no, at the beginning of last year, I was done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Beginning.
The season even kicked off. Yeah. But going to Renee's Eagles, one, y'all are actually dealing with quite a few injuries, believe it or not, that I did not expect to see coming. And I think what happened during week 1 when you guys went up against Washington, the number 2 overall pick just showed up, and that front four just showed up, and I think that with the way that things have gone this year, and with the little amount of time that teams have had to prepare, they didn't have OTAs, they didn't have mini camps, had like a miniature training camp in a sense. So there are going to be a lot more injuries this season because players, let's be honest, have not really been able to get themselves in season conditioning because of COVID, which sucks because a lot of players that we want to see playing a full 17-game season aren't able to do that right now. I mean, we just saw Saquon Barkley tore his ACL, gone for the season. Like week 2, just the curse of the torn ACLs in the NFL. So I think that
is that a discipline thing, y'all?
So here's my issue with it.
No,
reason why I mean discipline, like were these players who are getting hurt, not the ACLs because that could happen, but the players that are getting hurt, did they not practice and really work out beforehand? Do y'all think?
That's my issue with it because the Eagles O-line definitely. I mean, from week 1 we've been dealing with that. When you don't have players like Lane Johnson out there, but you blow in a 17-point lead, that's unacceptable. And what I'm seeing from the Eagles and from a lot of teams, because I even saw the fact that a lot of teams right now just look like you can tell they haven't been playing. And the football season starts in like April. So all those OTAs, all the training, all the preseason that you normally do, all the stuff you do without pads and easing back into things, you can see where it has been hurting teams. And so I think that the discipline piece comes in the fact that you're playing an outdoor sport. Regardless if you're able to train, you should be able to get out and work on things. You should be able to get out and practice, do something. And I know we're seeing plays like I can't get over the play I watched. DeAndre Swift dropped the ball came in. He had a chance to run in for the win for Detroit. Dropped it. They lose the game week 1 to I think they're playing the Bears. And it was just like that's a sign of you haven't been playing. You haven't had the reps. You haven't had a chance to work back in. So injuries, of course, happen. But the disconnect that's not there, you just see where it's from having all these Zoom practices and all these things that it's not the same if you're not on the field getting the reps of your quarterback throwing to your receivers and you're, running through your plays. But to me, the biggest frustrating piece about teams like the Eagles that are struggling, because we're not the only ones that are winless right now. But the biggest thing is when you see coaching issues, when you see just poor player, like the line, we don't have starters out there. We're playing with like our second string players in week 3. How are we already that far behind in week 3? If this is later in the season, injuries hit, that's one thing. So what have we been doing in the offseason? What have you been preparing for that you're bringing players up from the practice squad already? That's my concern. And then when you see things like the last play of the game when they get offsides, they get a penalty, they're backing up, then they delay of game, another penalty, they don't go for the field goal for the chance to win it. It's just like, come on, these are the little details. It doesn't matter if you've been playing or not. You got to get that right.
Yeah, you definitely got to get it right. It's gonna be interesting to see how this football season plays along. I got to give credit where credit is due. Ashley brought him up earlier, Tom Brady, because initially I felt that the teams that were going to be there in the end were the teams that were kind of already established. Your Ravens, your Chiefs, your Saints, can't exclude the Seahawks and the Packers.
And the Bills. How about the Bills?
The Bills is another team,
Bills, though.
How about the Bills?
But here's the deal. I said the Bills were winning their division. I said that they were gonna be that good anyway. I mean, now they can win it now since the GOAT isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
They're winning the division. I don't know why you thought that Tom Brady wasn't going to get it together in Tampa Bay.
I just didn't know how that was going to mesh, to be honest with you.
He's a GOAT.
Whatever. He's still getting old. Like,
he's a GOAT, and he would have been as incredible as he's been. He would have been like that had he had help in New England last year.
I'm not fully sold on Tampa Bay yet.
Let's see what happens when he start playing real teams. Let's see what happens when he start playing some dogs. We saw what happened in week 1. Let's not act like he undefeated. And
I mean, even still, as horrible a performance that Tom had in New Orleans when they were down here playing the Saints week 1, I've been trying to tell people, like, this is going to be a process, whether we like it or not. Yeah, we expect it to be automatic for Tom because it's Tom Brady, for crying out loud. But at the same time, he's tried to get the chemistry going with his receivers in the offseason.
That's what he do. That's what I always respect about him.
Breaking some of the COVID rules, just trying to get some reps in, and it.
We know he's used to breaking rules.
But
I'm
let's
just saying,
not act like
he took a Super Bowl from Renee.
Let's just not talk about.
But any final thoughts before we get out of here and watch some Monday Night Football?
I'm muting everybody when I get down because y'all really trying it. Well, my final thought is, I'm not talking trash about this finals. My response to everybody is Heat in 7. I'm not saying nothing.
I just find it real funny that you think LeBron James.
No, I'm not guaranteeing nothing because But let me. Can I say this really quick too?
James.
Excuse me. My series predictions have not been off. My individual game predictions, I'm a little shaky there. But my individual series predictions, don't play with me, y'all. I did not say that the Lakers were going to lose any of their series. I didn't say that Miami was going to lose any of their series. I didn't think they were going to see Boston. Whatever. I was wrong on 2 of the Denver Nuggets series, and I was wrong on the Celtics series because I thought the Celtics would just come out the East. Don't Chuck guarantee me. Don't do that to me, y'all. Don't put me too. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, though, you really think LeBron James, who beat Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala in a Game 7 on the road, is going to lose a Game 7 to Jimmy Butler on neutral ground? I know Miami got the home field, the home state advantage.
That's what killed me about LeBron, folks. He's not untouchable. Let's just y'all say with Tom Brady that the man is not untouchable. I have learned my lesson. He can be touched. So can LeBron. I mean, he's been touched 6 times.
Listen, I don't like the word touched used there.
He's 3-6 in the finals. He's been touched.
I don't like the word touched used there. But look, here's my issue is the fact that like Brian said, if this is any other team, maybe. But once we got to the conference finals, I didn't feel as though there was a single team that could beat the Lakers. I didn't think the Nuggets. I didn't think the Celtics. I didn't think the Heat. I felt like the best team that had a chance of beating the Lakers was the Clippers.
And I still thought they was going to lose.
So at the end of the day, I don't feel like any of these other teams match up with them size-wise. They don't have, as we've already talked about, they might have some great dogs, some hard workers. This is not Steph, KD, Dirk, Timmy, Manu, and Tony. This is a whole different group. This is a young team. Now, I applaud them for getting here. I think that for the Nuggets and for the Heat, this is going to go a long way for their futures and help them be a championship contending type team in the future. But I don't think they're ready to hang with the Kings. They're not there yet. I think that what I saw in the Nuggets series, they look like boys. I think the Heat they're gonna be able to compete, win a game, maybe two. But I still think the Lakers win this one. And honestly, I feel like this is gonna be a convincing series. Not only are they going to win it, it'll be in a convincing fashion.
Convincing fashion. Okay.
Convincing fashion.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the only game that was really convincing in the last round was game 1. But I don't think this will necessarily be one of those blowouts. I think it's going to be a tough. Now, I got the Lakers in 5, but I think all of them going to be dog fights. But I just think that the Lakers, they playing for something bigger. No matter what, people try to act like it's not the truth. In my opinion, they lost a legend. We won it when Wilt died. We're gonna win it when Kobe died. Unfortunately,
facts. Yes.
Brandon, any last words?
Oh, I ain't gonna get my prediction of who's gonna win tonight. This is gonna be a tie. I'm gonna say NFL is gonna be a tie tonight.
You think that the Ravens and the Chiefs gonna go tie?
It's about to be a shootout.
No, don't disrespect the Ravens defense.
It'll be a shootout, but
I think it's gonna go like 40.
I will say that between those two teams, I do think the Ravens do have the better defense.
42-34.
42-34 Ravens.
Like, nah, listen. I don't know, to be honest.
Y'all ain't gonna go for 50? Somebody gonna put a 50 in this game.
I'm gonna say 42-34 just to throw out a number, just because.
One of the teams are both of them gonna put a 50.
But I will say something actually, Ashley, before we go.
She about to call her out.
I'm gonna call you out because you have done a very good job of covering yourself. You haven't fully said the Lakers are gonna lose, but every single series, it's the Lakers gotta watch out for Portland. The Lakers gotta watch out for Houston. The Lakers gotta watch out for Denver. Let me just say this. Let me just say this because I said that Portland shouldn't even have their people come to the bubble because they were going home. I never said that Portland would beat them. Come on now, give me more credit than that, Chris. After the Rockets won game 1, it was all LA to be worried. Nah, we know we can run that back. You ain't never fully said the Lakers were gonna lose, but you told all this. They should be worried. And my thing is the king is always gonna be the king. Thank you, Mike Patton. Thank you. I'm not with the Bron. Don't come for LeBron James. You can't disrespect the king because at the end of the day, if Steph's on the floor, if KD's on the floor healthy, maybe we're having a different conversation. Jimmy Butler, Bam, I respect the Heat. I love what they've done. I love a good underdog, but the road ends here. This is gonna be like
Anthony, if you are still in this chant, Bam's brother, Anthony Adebayo, screen record this and send this to your folks for ammunition. They need it because they are real people in this world that's sleeping. There's real people in this world that's sleeping on y'all that think that y'all can't get it done. Yeah. So
look, I respect Jimmy Butler. I respect Bam. I respect this Heat team. Yeah, it's not a surprise. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw like the videos that Jimmy Butler did before the playoffs start, I said, "Oh man, that dude looked dangerous. He looked like he's on a mission."
I remember those.
Yeah, but with that being said, I mean, he even said like this is the big test, LeBron James, and I just don't see LeBron losing. This will people was Patrick Mahomes just scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's up with that defense?
I was just watching that.
He's got too much motivation this time. He's got too much.
Yeah, he got too much motivation. And the thing is, what I love about this Lakers team, what they're doing that other like the Shaq and Kobe teams did a lot of times, they're not just acting like, oh, we got this. They're going out there, they're playing hard. Yeah, they give up big leads, but they're going out there, they're playing hard.
Yeah.
Facts.
Well, yeah.
So y'all let the people know where they can find you. We're gonna start with Brandon first, and then we're gonna go to Renee, then to Ashley.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BWill Media. That's BWILL Media.
All right, it's right there on your screens in case you missed it. Renee, let the people know where they can find
Why
you.
you still got my lower third on Renee's face?
Yes. Okay. So I am at Renee P. Wash on Twitter, at Renee P. Washington on Instagram. You could check out Locked on Wizards, my daily Wizard show, where we're talking all things sports. And then also my show Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington is coming back next week, season 2. Baby. So I'm excited for that. And you guys, I've got some great interviews lined up. So stay tuned because we're coming back better than ever. Coming back like the king.
Okay, coming back like the king. Look, y'all who stop giving me a hard time. I'm trying to produce, direct, and talk at the same time.
Well, I'm obviously, I am Renee P. Washington. Right now, I am Ashley Nicole Baker. You can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Baker _21, on Facebook, Ashley Baker, on Instagram, Ashley N1221. I'm gonna try to do something where all mine is like consistent like y'all's, because that's real cute. I only got to say it one time. But yeah, and of course you can catch me, let me just say this. And I mean, the drop. Oh, and my sports show is coming back, y'all. About nothing but sports. Listen, it's on the way. I promise y'all. It's some good stuff coming. It's on the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna be nice to our good sister Kelsey Nicole Nelson. Just let y'all know y'all can follow her at the Real K Nelson on all social media platforms.
Wait, hold on. And Renee, you do great impersonations. Can you do Kelsey right now? Can you do Kelsey right now?
You're putting me on the spot here. Oh my gosh. Oh,
I wish we had one of them bobbleheads.
Well, you can follow me at Kelsey Nicole Nelson, the Real K Nelson. And you can see all my content at Listen In with K&N. Every week, bringing you some new interviews. And I also just started with the Washington football team. I feel like now I'm being rude, though, actually. I don't know.
It's just sister. It's all love.
Team, and you can check me out there. Kelsey, I love you, girl.
We love you.
Oh my goodness, I love these people. Y'all know me, Brian H. Waters. Make sure y'all follow me at Brian H. Waters on all platforms. Also, make sure you subscribe to Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, which I have, coming up next week. Well, this week I just had Anthony Johnson on, an NBA agent. Next week, Miss Karita Parks. And then also look out for Uncomfortable Conversations. Y'all know what? I just talked to my cousin. I'm gonna do a show about child support soon. Because we always talk about what the men don't do. How about the good brothers out there? So if you're gonna be in my circle, you gotta take care of your kids. It's just that simple. But also follow the Wrestling Realm on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Millennial Media Mavens. Get the name right, get used to it. That is what we are. How y'all feeling?
I'm feeling good. Love
First
y'all.
show in the books.
Watch the game.
Loving it.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna see if I can get them together for the World Series. What y'all think? The World Series.
Your camera breaking up.
Oh,
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm in HD.
What are you saying?
We don't even have a clear front runner yet to see who's going to be there for the World Series.
No, if it's the Yankees, then I'm gonna be upset. We definitely gonna get together for the We definitely gonna get together for the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure, and just random other stuff whenever we feel like talking.
Whenever we feel like dropping. So make sure you keep your phones and your iPads and your electronics, near, because we are coming. We out.
We need to have a 2020 farewell show.
Oh,
okay.
It's so
I thought we were done,
hard.
but not. So here to say goodbye.
No, we gonna say get out of here. To that one.
Yeah, it ain't hard to say goodbye to 2020 for me.
It's never that easy to just move. We don't ever know what 2021 will hold. The world could blow up. Don't so quick to rush. You all are biblical people. You're not supposed to
and
rush
guess what?
anything.
And I'll see y'all on the other side of the mountain, on the good side. So that's all I'm saying.
I'm gone, y'all, because this is the goodbye I've ever been a part of.
Goodbye.
This is how they do, though. You know how it is when you don't really want to leave. But you gotta get up out of here.